guys, welcome back to another Frontend Mentor video. Today we're going to be completing the social links from Frontend Mentor. So here is what the final product looks like. As you can see, Jessica Randall, London, front-end developer, and we've got all of these buttons here, and we've got this nice clean card design. And yeah, so this is the social links profile. I took this from Frontend Mentor. Basically what Frontend Mentor gives you is a whole kind of repository of stuff in a zip, so you can unzip this and then you'll get your index HTML, you'll get a style guide, you'll get a readme, and we're just going to go through these things. We're going to, with the index.html, we're going to add classes, and we're going to basically structure the way that it's going to look. And then we're going to create our own CSS styling and actually style the way that this turns out. So hopefully this video is helpful to some of you. Okay, alright, so let me just, using the live server extension, I'm going to go live. I'll probably make a video about the live server extension, so if you're unfamiliar with what that is, I'll make a short about it or a video. But anyway, as you can see, this is like what the boilerplate looks like. This is like what the index.html looks like without the styling. So as you can see, it's quite like a drastic difference between this. But you can already see, like, you've got the Jessica Randall, you've got the location, you've got the subtitle, and you've got these buttons here, and this image. Okay, so if we take a look at our index.html, we'll see here that Frontend Mentor gives us this basic attribution here. So you can change this to put your name, or you can get rid of it. I'm going to keep it since, you know, I'm using Frontend Mentor. I want to make sure that I'm giving credit where credit's due. But anyway, I'm going to keep that attribution. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to link a CSS style sheet here so that we can style our index.html. That's the first thing I'm going to do. So I'm just going to write link, and then it shows up with link CSS. So this is an Emmet abbreviation, and you can quickly enter and that will kind of produce it for you. So that's really useful because it does it faster. And then I'm going to create a new file here, which is going to be style.css. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I save this. So I'm just going to press Ctrl save, and then I'm just going to add this to sorry, what am I doing? Body. Okay, to test that this is working, I'm just going to add a background color of red to test that that's working. And as you can see, that's all done. So I'm going to comment that out, save it, and then go back to my index.html and actually start organizing this. So let's look at the structure here of this. So we've got a card. So to create the card, I'm going to wrap that in a div. So view, command palette, Emmet wrap with abbreviation, div.card. I'm using Emmet because it makes it easier, but you can also type it out like in the index.html file. I'll show you how to do that as well. So for example, we've got our card now. The next thing that I want to do is put an image. So I can type img dot, and then here I can add the class of what the image is going to be. So I can say main image, enter, and that will immediately create an image tag with the class of main image. Alright, so then I'm going to go to my assets, images, and I'm going to put avatar of Jessica. The path may be slightly different for you. This is the path that I have, and as you can see, the image is showing up on our live server. So I'm going to save that, and I'm going to say image of Jessica in the alt text. The alt text is for accessibility, like if somebody's using a screen reader, they can now see that this is an image of Jessica on their screen reader. Okay? Or they can't see it, they can hear it. Alright, so we've got this is going to be the main title. So I'm going to just highlight that, go view command palette, and Emmet wrap with abbreviation, H1, and I'm going to say, we can say like title name, something like that. Then next we have this location. So I'll show you how to just create a tag normally, like without using Emmet. So I would just do like this, and it auto completes on VS Code. Or I'm not sure if there's an extension doing it, but I'm pretty sure it auto-completes on VS Code. And then it's a bit more cumbersome because I would have to copy paste or manually type in, you know, all of these things. So that's what I'm going to do, type that in. All right, the next thing is I'm going to add another, oh yeah, we also have to add our class. So we'll add a class of location, save that. Then here again, we'll do that. This is like this part of Frontend Mentor, I would say, is like the most cumbersome. It's the most annoying part, is doing this whole kind of like filling in all of these tags and stuff in our index.html. But anyway, we're going to do it. Alright, as you can see, we've got GitHub, Frontend Mentor, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. These are all styled in the same way, and I'm going to have them as buttons. Okay, you could have them as divs, but I'm going to assume that these would be buttons that somebody would click and later would take to other links, right? So I'm going to create them as buttons. We're not going to do any of the link functionality and stuff like that here because we're not currently like using them. This is just for the styling, but you could add links to these and make them actually clickable links. So, okay, I'm going to add a button and I'm going to say, like, we can just call it link button, maybe. And then we're going to do that with every single one of them. We may later have to go back and wrap these in a div, but we'll see. Maybe we don't have to do that. I'm thinking we can try without that for now. So button, yeah, so I'm just going through these, all doing them. Using the command palette definitely makes it faster, but this is still really annoying. Okay, so now we have all of our buttons completed. We can actually move on to the styling. So this was quite quick, but as you can see, this is what it shows up like now. So we can see the image, we can see the location, we can see the subtitle, like the job description, we can see all of the buttons. So we have everything that we need to be able to style now. So let's go to our style.css. In my HTML, I'm going to make this a height of 100%. And then in my body tag, I'm going to add a display of grid. And I'm going to place content center. Okay, as you can see, that's all shifted. That's shifted all of the items to the kind of center of the page. So that's really useful because, as you can see, our cards are in the middle. Alright, so the thing that we need to do is start looking at some of these colors to change them. So we could paste all of these colors into our CSS and make like custom variables. Okay, but since there's like not that many colors, I'm just going to leave it as is and we're just going to like basically take them. So I'm taking them from the style guide, so I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to go background color and I'm going to paste that in. Save, and as you can see, that's already looking a lot better because it's the correct background color. Alright, the thing that I'm going to do here as well is I've got my card class, so I named it .card. I'm pretty sure. We'll go to our index. So yeah, we've got our class card. So I'm going to write .card. Dot is the class selector here, and I'm going to also place a display of grid here. Now the reason why I did that is you can see immediately what it did is it structured all of those buttons to be in a column, and that's exactly what we want. So most people would use display flex for that, but display grid is so useful for buttons like that where you have them all styled in the same way, and like now we don't have to do anything with these buttons, you know, we've all got them done just by simply applying that. So definitely do that if you have a card situation like that and you need the buttons to fill the space of the card. That's really useful. Okay, also speaking about our card, we've got a specific color here that we want to place on the card. So it's this gray 800. So I'm going to just copy that and I'm going to paste that in as the background color. That will also give us a better idea of how big this card is right now. Okay, there we go. So we can immediately see that the buttons, they've got a bit of padding here. And I think this is probably a padding of 1 rem, like looking at it visually. So I'm just going to add a padding of 1 rem. We're going to see how we do with that. Okay, that looks way too small. So we're going to do a padding of 2 rem. That looks a bit better. A padding of 2 rem. Okay, we're going to go back to our style guide and take a look at what we have here. So we've got the font size of 14 pixels. Right now the font size is looking fine. We've got this font family. So let's go look at that font family. And let's try and take this font. Where is the get embed code? Here. I don't know where the get embed code is. Like the, wait, am I missing something? Let me just, oh, get font. Okay, so we're going to get the embed code for this, embed code in the head of your HTML. We're going to copy that, move that along, and we're going to go to our index.html, grab that and put that in the head, save that. Okay, so we'll have that into font now, and we can place that in the body here, and we can write font family enter, save, and that should have changed everything. So it did change the font. If you want to see that change, here's what it was before, so it's with the default font, and here's what it is with the enter font. So it changes everything, looks a lot better. Okay, style guide wise, so we want to change the font color to be white. So CSS is kind of confusing in that way, but literally to change the color of the font, you just write color, and background color is going to change like the actual color of the div or the color of the screen or whatever. So that's kind of confusing. Like they could have named it like font color or something, but they named it that. So it's kind of confusing. Anyway, we've got the Jessica Randall, we've got the image, we've got this, we've got some basic stuff. Okay, so let's start to make it look actually better. So with the card, the first thing that I can see is that there's rounded edges to this card. So I'm going to go to the card and I'm going to do border radius. So this is how we do rounded edges. Border radius 1 rem. Not 1 rems, but 1 rem. That should change the card to be rounded. As you can see, it is rounded now. So that worked well. Then we're going to align items in our card center. It could be justify items center. Yeah, justify items center. Okay, but actually we don't want to exactly do that right now because that's messed up our buttons. But the reason why I'm doing justify item center is because if you look at this card, you can see the image, the title, the location, the subtitle, and the cards, like they're all kind of in the center. So we want to do that, but I don't want to do that to my buttons. So I'm going to comment that out because I don't want to do that to my buttons. And maybe I'm going to create a special div that's not going to be the buttons. So I'm going to like select all of the stuff that isn't the buttons and I'm going to wrap them in a div. Div.align. And maybe then we're going to try doing that. Okay, maybe not that, but we're going to try do .align, display, grid, and Ctrl C, copy pasta. Okay, so that div, creating that specific div for that, has allowed us to move all of those items, keeping the buttons the way that we want them, which is the width of the card. Okay, so that's really important. So okay, so we've got that now. Let's fix this main image to be smaller and to be that round size. So I'm gonna do dot main image. We want the border radius to be like really intense. So we could do 50% on that, and I don't know why that hasn't changed. Dot image, or no, image tag. I'm going to select it via its image tag. Okay, for some reason it didn't want to work with its class, but when we actually directly used the image tag, it worked. So we're just going to go with that for now, because this is the one image on this whole thing. So I'm going to change it to 120 pixels. Is that correct? No, that's still a little bit big. So I'm going to change it to 80 pixels. That looks to be correct. Okay, the card we're going to move so that it's actually central by giving it a margin top of 5 rem. Okay, a little bit more. Alright, that's looking good now. That's central. Okay, we've got Jessica Randall. The title is way too big, so we're going to go, what did we name that? Title name. And we're going to give it a font size of 1 rem. Okay, that's too big still, 1.875 rem. That's not changing. So maybe I have the wrong... Yeah, I'm selecting it wrong. Oh, that's why it's not changing. Okay, so I'm selecting it wrong. That's why it wasn't changing. Okay, 1 rem's too small, 1.5 rem. 1.5 rem looks correct. And then we're going to add a margin top. So this is going to give us spacing, and we're going to add a margin top of 1 rem. Maybe a little bit more, 1.5. Okay, that's looking okay. So then we have this London, United Kingdom location. So I can't remember what I named it, but I think I named it location. And we need to change its color to be green. And I think it's kind of bold, or no, maybe normal, but we're gonna definitely change the color to green. So we're gonna go copy, and then color green. Okay, yeah, it does look to me to be a bit more bold, so we're going to select a font weight, and to make something bold, usually it's like something like 900. That looks a little bit too thick, so we're going to do 700. And then I don't know why there's this spacing here, so I'm gonna just see why we've got that spacing. Okay, there's some margins being added here that I didn't want to have added. So we can do a selector of all, like a universal selector, and we can set the margin to be 0. And as you can see, that's compressed everything, and that's gotten rid of like default margins that have been added by the browser. So usually you would do that at the beginning, but I kind of forgot to do that. But anyway, we've done it now. So we've got the margin, we're removing those margins there, and we can add here a little bit of spacing. So we can add a margin top of like 0.5 rem. The reason, by the way, guys, that I'm using rem all the time is because, especially for things like font sizes, using rem like adapts to the browser. So that's why I've just gotten into the habit of using it. You can use pixels, but especially for font size, remember to use rem, because it's like better for people who set like their font sizes to be larger and stuff like that. Alright, so we're gonna do a margin bottom of 0.5 rem here. That's too small. 1 rem, maybe even 1.25. Okay, 1.5. 1.5 rem. Alright, our card seems to be a little bit too small, so I'm just going to, like, I don't know, maybe we can manually change the width here. I'm not sure if this will work. Yeah, that did work. Okay, that looks a little bit wide, but we can do width, and we can set it to max width, or actually, should we just do width? I'm not sure. Okay, 340, and we'll set it to max width. Max width is better usually. Actually, we're just going to do it with. Anyway, never mind. I thought we were doing max width, but we're just going to do width here. Okay, front-end developer and avid reader is the subtitle. Let's take a look at that subtitle. Job subtitle is what I've named it. And we're going to go ahead and do job subtitle. We're going to do a font size of 0.875 rem. I think that's correct. Alright, we've got it as white, so I'm going to increase its font weight because I think it's a little bit more bold than we have it, but I'm going to decrease the opacity. Okay, so this is what's going to give it the look that it's like not fully like white, but it's like a bit more opaque. I think I'm going to reduce the font weight down a bit more. Okay, something like that. Could be even lighter font weight. Yep, that's looking good. Alright, and now we're going to add a padding bottom here of 1.5 rem. Alright, and now we're nearly done with our card. We're nearly finished doing the styling. The main thing that we have to do here, by the way, actually I'm just going to adjust the width of the card because I think it's a bit wide now looking at it. Still feels a bit wide. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and do our buttons, and that will be the last thing that we have to do. So all of them are the same, .link button, and we're going to add a padding first to them. So we're going to do a padding of 1 rem. We're going to add a margin bottom of about 0.5 rem. Is that looking correct? They look a bit thick. They look like they need to be a bit smaller. 0.875 we can add. Okay, now we got to change the color of them. So we're going to change background color, go to our style guide, take a look at what we have here. We've got this gray, so we'll just take this gray. Okay, we'll use the color, we'll change the color to white. And we'll increase its font weight because they have like kind of a bold look about them. So I'm going to increase the font weight to that. I'm going to remove the border because I don't think they have a border here. Yeah, they don't. We're going to look at their font size and set 1 rem. Okay, that's too big. 0.875 rem. Alright, that's looking better. And then the last thing that I want to do here is I'm actually going to increase the margin bottom a little bit to 0.75. I'm going to add a rounded look to these because they're slightly rounded, so we can add a border radius of about 2 rem. That's too strong. 1 rem. Still a tiny bit too strong, so we can add 0.5. Alright. Alright, I'm just going to make, like, just for sake of being pedantic, I'm going to make this card slightly wider, and we're going to add a margin bottom of 1 rem so that the attribution kind of moves off the bottom, and there you go. I'm pretty sure the social proof cards is completed now. I hope this tutorial helped you guys, and yeah, subscribe.